Hi there, tonight I'm going to be showing you how to do the blanket stitch and how to do the buttonhole stitch. So what you're going to need is you are going to need some thread, a needle to use, a pencil, a ruler and scissors, and then I will show you how to do the first stitch. So just to show you what the blanket stitch looks like, the blanket stitch is this one here, so you might be familiar with it if you see it on maybe some embroidery pieces or like kind of handmade sort of Christmas decorations. It's a really nice stitch to finish off and give a little bit of embellishment. Now the buttonhole stitch, which is this one here, is really similar to the blanket stitch, except it's just a little bit more closer together, and there's lots of different variations of a blanket stitch and a buttonhole stitch, but these are the two sort of basic ones which I'll be showing you tonight. So first off, what you're going to do is you're going to have your calico, and what you might want to do on your calico for your blanket stitch, which we'll show first, you might want to just draw maybe a line or two lines. So we'll just do one line like so, and we're going to follow that line for our stitching. So this is good as a guide, especially if it's something that you've not done before. So what I would always do is maybe just get a little bit of pencil, a ruler, and just kind of mark out where I want my stitch line to be. So I'm going to add this on to my embroidery hoop. So if you are wanting to stitch, then you can do it as it is just now, or pop it on an embroidery hoop. So with your embroidery hoop, it comes in sort of two parts, and you'll see here it's got the little screw at the top which you can tighten and loosen to get your fabric in and out. So the bit that's not got the screw is just going to go underneath, and this is just going to go on top. So you're just going to press down, tighten that screw, and then you just really want to make sure that your fabric is really nice and taut around the hoop. So I'm kind of pretty happy with that. And it should almost be like a bit like a tambourine. So now I've got my needle and thread. What you want to do is you want to put a knot into that thread. So I'm just going to put a little knot at the bottom, like so. And then for your blanket stitch, what you're wanting to do is you're just going to come up from underneath. And sorry, just to point out as well, when you're doing the blanket stitch or the buttonhole stitch, you always want to work from left to right. So you're just going to come up, and then what you're wanting to do is you want to go in, but you're going to come up just on that line that we've just created. So I'll put that up to the camera a little bit more. So you're going to come up, and then you're going to come through, and then you're just going to pop your needle back up just where we've drawn that line. And you're just going to take your thread that's here, and you're going to place it underneath the needle, and then you'll just pull through. And that's you started your first line. Then again, what we're going to do is you might want to, for the blanket stitch, just leave a little gap. So you're going to go in, and you're going to pop out just where we've drawn our line. And then again, with your thread, you're going to loop it underneath the needle, and then just pull through. And that's you created your two stitches. So I'll show you that again. You're just going to go in and come up just where we've drawn that line. You're going to take the thread from this end, and you're just going to loop it under the needle. And what that's doing is that's like catching the thread, and it's almost creating like this really nice sort of loop here, so it's kind of keeping the stitch secure. So again, you're kind of, with the blanket stitch as well, want to keep the sort of same distance. So you could do really wide blanket stitches, or you could do kind of really small ones as well. So again, you're just going to go down. You're going to just come up where you've drawn your line. You're going to take your thread and you're going to lip it through. And then just pull like so. And you can just keep doing that all the way along your edge. And now this is like a really, you know, nice stitch if you're doing like a piece of embroidery. Then this could be, you know, just out, you know, a bit of decoration, or it could be done for sort of kind of edging on a specific piece. So I'm just going to show you a few examples of where the blanket stitch can be used on an item. So now that you've seen some of those images, I'm just going to come up. So I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to come up again where we've drawn our line, and I'm just going to show you how to finish this off. So once you've looped your thread through, like so, and you're thinking, right, okay, I've came to the end of my line, I want to finish this off. Where you've got this bit of thread here, you're literally just going to take that and maybe hold it in your left hand, and then just do a little stitch coming down. And then what that is doing is that's holding that stitch in place. And then if you want to secure it at the back, again, what I would do is just tie just a little knot at the back, just to make sure that it's not going to come out. And then I'm going to get my scissors and I'm just going to chop that off. So that is how we do the blanket stitch. And you can see here, you can sort of draw maybe different designs and just sort of follow that pattern through as well. So the next one that we're going to do is we're going to do the buttonhole stitch. So I'll come back and I'll show you how to set that up. Hi there, so now I'm going to show you how to do the buttonhole stitch. So again, you're going to need your pencil and your ruler. And very similar to what we did with the blanket stitch, we're going to draw a straight line, except this time we're going to have two straight lines. So again, this is really good as a guide, especially if you're teaching this to kids or people that haven't done it before, because it just gives them a guide of where to follow. So again, you maybe want to, it depends on how big you want your buttonhole stitch to be, but I'm going to do just roughly about 1 centimetre between my two lines. And again, I'm going to use that as my guide. And then once again, I'm going to put it into my embroidery hoop. You can do it without an embroidery hoop, it's just for me personally, I quite like having an embroidery hoop. I find it a little bit easier to sort of stitch with. So again, I'm just going to pop that on. So I think I slackened my hook off the top a little bit too much. So there we go, just want to make sure it's really nice and tight. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. So again, we're just going to get some thread. I'm just going to knot it at the bottom. And we're basically going to start our stitch in pretty much the same way that we started with our blanket stitch. So you're going to come up from the bottom. And then we are going to go down into that line and come up into the second line. And again, like we did with the blanket stitch, you're just going to loop that round and just pull through. Except what we're going to be doing for the next one is we're not going to leave a gap. You're pretty much going to go right next to where you've just stitched that first line. So once you've got that, I'm just going to go really close and right next to it. And again, I'm just going to come back up onto that second line, and I'm making sure that my thread is looped underneath the needle. So you've got your lines really close together. So I would always recommend maybe just putting the thread, you know, holding it with your left hand and your thumb. Again, you're just going to come right next to where you've just made that stitch. You're going to come down, you're going to come up onto the second line, and again you're going to make sure that that is looped underneath the needle. And just pull through. So you can see how that's starting to resemble like a little buttonhole stitch. And then again, just going to go right next to that. And then just make sure that that thread is underneath the needle. So when you see things that are maybe, you know, like your trousers, like the buttonholes on your trousers, this type of stitch on, you know, like if it was a jacket or something, for example, that would be done on an industrial sewing machine. So in exactly the same way that we're doing it by hand, that's how it would be done on a buttonhole machine. So basically what it does is if you are got something that's got a hole in the middle of your fabric, this type of stitch should stop the fabric from fraying, and it obviously leaves like quite a nice decorative edge as well. So again, you can use this if you're maybe making something in the class like pillow cushions and maybe they've got a button, then what they can do is they can measure their buttonhole and use this stitch to finish off the edging. So I'm going to pop a little couple of images into the video just to show you what I mean by this. So I'm just going to finish this off because I'm just about to run out of thread here. So again, you're just going to come down. You're going to come back up onto that second line, making sure that this part of the thread on the left hand side is underneath the needle, and pull through. And then again, just to finish it off, you're going to take this and you're just going to pop it down right next to your second line stitch, and that should secure it. And then again, you can just pop this into a little knot at the back, like so. And that is how we do our buttonhole and also our blanket stitch.